Hey loves, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we'll learn how to make a corset for a big bust. As you can see, this corset is well covered, the cleavage is not showing, so I'll show you guys how to cut a modest corset for a big bust. So keep on watching and do not forget to subscribe. So the first thing that we are going to do is to draft the pattern. So this is what I will use to draft the pattern. I'll need my tape, my scissors, my measurements, and my marker as well. So I'll write out the measurements on this marker so that you guys can play along with me. So the bust is 38 inches, though 38 is not that big, but this pattern will guide you when cutting for any bust size. So the waist is 35 and a half, but I'll make it 34 because this is a corset, so that the waist will look a bit snatched. I don't want it to be too snatched. So the bust point is 10 and the under bust is 13. If you are cutting for a big bust, you are free to write down your own measurements for 44, 45, 48. You can use this measurement. So first of all, we'll assume that we are cutting an off shoulder bustier. So we'll subtract from the shoulder to where you want the bust to start from, the neck to start from. So I made it 5 inches. Then from there I will mark the bust point. 5 inches is very modest, at least the bust will not be showing from there. I will mark my bust point, that is 10, my under bust, that is 13, the half length is 16, and I will add 2 inches seam allowance. So I'll mark 16 for the half length and 2 inches seam allowance, that will be 18. So if you are cutting, if your bust point is 11, mark 11. If your under bust is 14, mark 14, and the rest. So I'll line these measurements that I marked now. I'll line my bust point, my under bust, my half length, and the allowance. So if you are cutting, just place your measurements according to what you have. If the bust point is 12, you can even mark 12 and the rest. So I am done lining these lines, and the first thing that I will measure is the bust span, that is the nipple to nipple. So her nipple to nipple is 8 inches. I will divide the 8 inches by 2. So if your nipple to nipple is 9 or 10 inches, divide it by 2 and mark. So her nipple to nipple is 8. If I divide it by 2, that will be 4. So I'll mark 4 inches at the bust point and 4 inches at the under bust and at the half length too. So I'll mark 4 here at the bust point, 4 at the under bust, 4 at the half length. Just extend it upwards. So I will draw this line or extend this line to meet the allowance and also my neck. If your bust span is 10, that means you mark 5 inches. So at the under bust, I will subtract 1.5 inch on both sides. I will subtract 1.5 on this side and 1.5 on the other side. So after that, I will extend this 1.5 inch down to my allowance line. So this is the dart line. Let's just assume that this is the dart line. So from there I'll make a curve to meet the bust point and also to the other side. As you can see, the breast cut is coming out gradually. So at the neckline, I'll subtract 1 inch on both sides, 1 inch on the right side and 1 inch on the left side. I'll also make a curve to meet my bust point. So this is basically for our upper bust tightening. Like I told you guys, let's just assume that we are cutting an off shoulder bustier. So the breast cut is out now. So I will go ahead and cut out this thing. I'll go ahead and cut out. I'll divide my pattern paper into 2. Then I'll cut out my breast curve. So I believe this method will be very easy for you. So after doing that, you will take your body measurement first before curving out your corset. So I'll place these two sides so that they will overlap each other. You can see the way they are overlapping and the lines are aligning. So I'll take my bust measurement plus 2 inches seam allowance. I will mark. Then at the waist, 34 divided by 4 is 8.5, I think, the plus 2 inches seam allowance, and I will mark. Make sure that your lines are aligning on both sides. So after doing that, I will connect my line. I'll connect my waistline to the bust line. So the next thing now is our chest line, our armhole line. I'll curve my armhole too. So in order to get your armhole, you subtract that 5. Remember, from the shoulder to where our neckline started is 5 inches. So you place your 5 inches there and you mark 8 inches. Armhole line is basically 2 inches above your bust point. So her bust point is 10. 2 inches above the bust point is 8 inches. So I marked the armhole line at 8 inches. Then I'll mark the chest line. I'll make these two patterns to overlap like I did before, and I'll mark 7 inches for my chest line. For now, it will be 7 inches. I'll still trim it after joining. So I'll connect the chest line to, I'll connect the neckline to my armhole line, or the chest line, anyone. So after doing that, I will go ahead and cut out. So after cutting this, it will look like an off-shoulder busting. This is how an off-shoulder busting normally looks like. If you have been sewing before, this is how it looks like. So right now we are going to mark our cup. So at the neckline, I'll come in by 1/2 inch. That is for the center piece. At the bust points, I'll come in by 1/2 inch too. So I'll connect this line, I'll connect the 1/2 inch at the neckline to the one at the bust point. Then I'll make a curve this way. I'll make a curve to meet my under bust curve. As you can see, 1/2 inch at the neckline, 1/2 inch at the bust point, and then you connect your line and make a curve to meet your under bust curve. So for the side piece, I'll go in by 4.5 inch. From the center, I'll go in by 4.5 inch. So you can go in by 5 if you are making it for a very big bust, or by 6 if you are making for a bust like 45 inches or 46 inches. So from there, I'll make a curve to meet the under bust curve. Then I'll extend it to the neckline or to the chest line. So as you can see, the shape is out on both sides. I went in by 4.5 from the center. So if you're making for a big bust, you can make it 6 or 5. So I'll go ahead and cut out this bra cup, or this breast cup, I don't know. So I'll go ahead and cut it out, and this is what we will have at the end of the day. I have not given this neckline the shape that I want. I'll give it this shape after joining everything. Maybe if you want it to have a V shape or a sweetheart neckline, that is up to you, but that will be after I must have finished joining this corset. So the next thing that I will do now is to cut the back pattern. I'll introduce a fresh pattern paper, and the back will be a normal body. You just have a normal dart. First of all, I will mark out 2 inches for my zipper allowance, and I'll extend the line. Sorry, my marker is misbehaving. I was literally struggling with my marker. So this is the zipper allowance. I'll label my zipper allowance. So you subtract 5 inches from the chest, from the neck, from the shoulder, like I did before. Then I'll mark my half length and my chest line. Then you go ahead and insert your darts. You take your bust measurements, your waist measurements, and all that. You also give the neckline the shape you want, and this is it. You all know how to cut a normal back body. So the allowance was not up to 2 inches, so I had to manage the one I had. So this is it. You draw your neckline the way you want, and the half length, like I said, wasn't up to 2 inches. So if you want to tie this thing at the back, you will cut out this zip allowance. If you want to tie it, if you want to lace it at the back, this zip allowance will not be among. So that's why I shaded it, so that you can cut it out when cutting on your fabric. So I am done cutting my pattern, and I will go ahead and cut out each piece on my fabric. I'm using a velvet fabric for this corset. So when you are cutting the fabric for the bra cuff pieces, please remember to add half an inch around all of them, because I did not add any allowance while cutting the breast cup side. So after cutting, you pin the pattern with the fabric. Then I label this one C. C is for the center, so this one is the center cup. So I'll go ahead and cut for the side cup. Remember to add your half an inch round all of them. So after cutting, I will pin this one, and I'll also label it S. The S is for the side cup. So I'll go ahead and cut out the side. So when you are cutting for the dart line and the place where you attach your breast cup, please remember to add half an inch. So this is for the back parts. This corset will have a zipper, so I will not cut out the zipper allowance. But if you don't want yours to have a zipper, cut out this zipper allowance, so that you can have a space to attach your loop for the lacing. So after cutting this out, I will go ahead and add a hard interface to both the lining and the velvet. So this is the center piece. The center piece will be on fold, remember. Then I'll add my half an inch round. So after that, please remember to cut your lining and add a hard interface to all of them, both the lining and the velvet. The reason why I add hard interface to my velvet is to avoid stretching. Corset is supposed to be very firm, so that's why I add hard interface to both the lining and the velvet itself. So this is for the bra cup, and the bra cup I added the hard interface only to the lining. I did not add it to the velvet, because I will cut my pad for these corsets. The other ones I normally use already made bra cup, but this one I want to cut my pad for it. So this is the wadding or pad. This is the medium wadding. I use the medium one. If you want to use the hard one or the soft one, it is up to you. So I will go ahead and cut it for the bra cup pieces. This is the side piece, so I'll cut it for this one and keep aside. I'll also go ahead and cut for the center bra cup pieces too. If you can see, this bra cup is longer, so the length will help to accommodate the breast. We are cutting this for a big bust. It will help to accommodate the breast so that it will not be popping up, or the cleavage will not be showing too much. Unlike the other corsets that I normally show you guys, they are a kind of short. So I am done adding my wadding to my velvet. They all have gum, so I used an iron to add the wording to all of them. So I'll go ahead and trim off the excess. So I'll do this for all of them before joining. So after trimming, I'll go ahead and join. So I will arrange it the way I will join it, the center and the side, the center and the side. So I have joined the main bodies too, and I've ironed it. I've ironed the allowance. So I'll do the same for the back as well. So I've also joined my back up, and I notched and ironed this so well using my tailor's ham. So this is how it looks like. After ironing, you then turn it over and add to your main body. So you can see I cut my wording for this. I did not use an already made bra cup, so I'll go ahead and join it to my main body. So I added my Ankara loops on my channels for the boning. I added it before joining this. So this is the lining as well. I have joined my lining and I ironed all the allowances very well. So after joining this cup to the main bodies, you will go ahead and turn it with your lining. So this is the lining. So I've ironed the allowances as well. So for the back piece, I have turned it with the lining and I ran a stitch. I did not add any Ankara channel to the back, so I ran a stitch to hold the fabric and the lining together. You can see where I ran the stitch. So this is where I will insert the boning. You can run as many as you want, but I'll only insert one boning at the back part. So I will go ahead and mark out my zipper allowance. I love tracing out my zipper allowance before joining the front and the back. So this is the zipper allowance, and I have also joined my back up to the main bodies and have joined it with my lining. So this is how it looks like. So you place the front and the back together and you will shape. Then after shaping, you can trim out your armhole and then join your sleeve. So this is the final look, and it looks so fine on my client, and my client loves her dress. So guys, this is the end of this video. Please do not forget to subscribe and share so that other people can get to see this video. Thank you guys so much, and bye.